Yeah.
two painting color minimum versus
No, it's 3 color. It's
three,
3 color.
3 color minimum.
Whoa!
Ooh.
Uninformed.
Ooh, 3 color minimum for tabletop ready. Have you guys seen someone trying to even cheese this? Like, I've personally seen like 3 dots of paint on a black mini, or 3 dots of paint on a gray mini.
That takes so much effort to do that.
And then,
because you've already got the paint out, you may as well paint a shoulder pad or something.
Yeah, and like, just prime your guys black. It counts as a color. It doesn't take that much time. Like, if you prime your guys black and you paint your base brown, you are 2/3 of the way to a 3-color model.
So, here's an example. This is a primed model. It's got red, white, gold. Boom. There's your minimum.
You put too much effort in. There's 4 colors there.
So,
I've got Space Wolves. Horribly hard. Spray them dark blue or gray and give them a little silver for the weaponry. Do the base. There's your 3 colors. It's not that hard to do.
Yeah.
I mean, Oh, go ahead.
No, all you. I was agreeing with you.
I've got other models, like, in my 7th edition list, I had a lot of wolves. Not real hard to do. Base the wolf black, slap them with a little brown, dry them with a little gray. 3 colors, done.
Now,
I mean, I know, Matt, with your orcs, those are tough to 3 color.
No. You just got to be excellent at it. You just got to be prepared. I have when you're done, man, I got a whole little recipe for disaster for that. A whole recipe. We're gonna make soup.
But I mean, it's very 3 color minimum is very 0 effort. The biggest problem I have is not using 19 different paints on one model. Because it's like, well, he's got these pouches, and oh, well, damn, I put that grenade on there, and now I got to paint that, and that's going to be a gray, and I mean, then you don't even, then getting into shades and washes, it is so easy to go above and beyond 3 color minimum.
I hate painting, and if I can get the 3 color minimum.
Well, I see a whole gray tide back there behind you. Yeah. There's still gray tide on that side, too.
Oh, yeah. Some of these are my daughter's models, and then some of them are gray knights. That's my excuse.
So they're already gray? Whoa!
Yeah, they're already gray.
So when it comes down to it, though, like, if you're hitting a point where someone wants to play the game, they don't want to paint. It's personal for them. It's not wrong that they don't want to paint, but like, what's the easiest way to get them to the point where they're not pissing off the people they're playing against?
I like Army Painters got their dip system that they have kind of patented. Just a one color base coat. You dip the model in there. I can't remember what they call it, but it's their equivalent to Null Oil, and it shades the model. You flick it dry, and then just a couple of dots here and there of a third color with a brush, and you're good to go.
Something that somebody showed me when I first got into this from our local game store, he would paint his models while he was helping customers, but he would use like the paint pens.
Yes.
Yep.
So you got a few lines that you can do. It's not for painting large surfaces, but some trim, You could do that while you're watching a movie. You don't have to put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah.
So pick up some paint pens and you're off to the races.
And not everyone's army needs to be the professional painted, like,
Right.
masterpiece.
No.
Especially if you're going to play at, local stores or even in hyper competitive situations. If you meet the minimum requirements, you can play. Like that, you're not going to win the art award, and you shouldn't go in with that expectation. But
Yeah.
hitting that minimum is not hard,
Right.
if done correctly.
Yeah.
But I will never not play somebody because of the way their army looks.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'll
Well, let me
challenge you.
rephrase.
Josh.
In friendly games, even WYSIWYG is still
So I went to, and I'll challenge you on it. We went to, I think you were at the tournament. We went to our friends in Wisconsin. They
Yeah.
had a friendly doubles tournament going on, and
Yep.
there was an army there that had a Death Watch flyer. It had 4 Imperial dreadnoughts, Space Marine dreadnoughts, with no arms, no paint. The Death Watch flyer was half assembled, no paint, no primer. It had 2 Killicans, also not fully assembled, no paint, no primer. It had 30 Orc boys, half of which had no arms, and it was an Orc army. The dreadnoughts were other Killicans, and the flyer was a Burna-Bomber. Would you still play that?
as a friendly, yes. But in a tournament setting, that's on the tournament organizer to say, hey, that's not even a real army. Like half your stuff isn't what it's supposed to be. Get out.
Especially with the Killicans. The Killicans are about 2.5 inches shorter than a Death Dread. So that's gonna.
Depends on the edition, Death Dread.
But
I
these weren't Death Dreads. These were Imperial Dreadnoughts. They
they're
were
not,
Space Marine Dreadnoughts.
that they're running as Killicans.
Yes.
So they were doing themselves a disservice because those are taller than Killicans.
Well,
So it'd be hard. Yeah, they are.
no, I'm not debating that.
Oh,
The I can see the scavenged side of the army, but there's got to be a level of effort put forth if you're gonna try and run that.
And
Oh, so Ryan, you're talking about if somebody takes, say, a rhino and orcifies it,
Yeah,
as
exactly.
opposed to see that's perfectly fine, but
I remember seeing this army, and it was pretty jank.
yeah.
And I don't mind them playing. They had somewhat assembled models, and they weren't painted, which is also fine. But when you do that, play the model that the model is. Like, he could
Yeah.
have played a Space Marine, fun Space Marine game, with Space Marine models that were partially assembled, partially built, and I would not have had a problem with it. I think my problem comes from him thinking that Orcs are better than Space Marines. I want to win more of my games. How do I take the Space Marines I have and play them as Orcs to try and win more?
That's
yeah,
cool.
I wouldn't have been on board with that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I remember right, that there were a couple other pretty questionable armies at that tournament too that were. I wouldn't go as far as to say jank, but you could tell there were there were a lot of newer players in that area, and I think the tournament organizers were definitely letting them get away with a lot more than a lot of TOs in our areas would. But at the same time, we didn't know until the end that there were some pretty reasonably high stakes in this tournament too.
Yeah. Yeah. And Matt, you mentioned it earlier. How would you go about bringing it full circle? You got your Orcs. There's a bunch of them. Lots of bodies.
Sure.
Fastest and best way of getting that to tournament minimum?
Yeah. So, my record is 80 Storm Boys, fresh off of sprues, or new on sprues, in 1 week. So, what you do is you can prime, minimal color, and base for about $15 if you do it this way. Ready? Hooray! Okay, so you take while they're on the sprues, you take a drop cloth outside. You use primer, prime them while they're on the sprues, and you want to base coat them while they're on the sprues as well. So what I just did is I did a basic. I colored their arms and their faces green, and then their bodies and their rockets red, and then I took all the bases that they came with, and I just spray painted down the bases a color, and then boop. So you could if you do it assembly line style like that, you can, with enough focus, you can crank 80 of those out in about 2 hours if you want to.
And also, do you think, from all you guys, that if you come into this hobby and you want to play in this hobby and you don't really want to paint or put models together, that should come into play when you pick what army you want to play?
Yes.
Because if you're coming in saying, I don't want to paint models, I want to play models, which is not you play your game, your fun's not wrong.
Sure.
But if you're coming in with that mindset, don't play orcs.
Right.
Don't put yourself in the situation where you got to put 80 bodies together to fit 3 squads for 600 points.
Right.
Well, that's why I used to run 4 Nemesis Dread Knights and 2 Imperial Knights.
Yeah, it's just less bodies.
It's less bodies, less to paint, less rules to remember.
Yeah, and you can tell. A good example was at the most recent Michigan GT when we did paint scoring. You can tell who's done their stuff and who has not, and that's there's a little bit of respect for the representation of the army when they're asking for votes.
Yeah, and
so you think if somebody paid to have their army painted for them, that they should not be allowed to enter a painting competition?
Oh, a painting competition? Absolutely. Yeah. They should be allowed to. No.
Now, I think that happens a lot more than people are willing to talk about.
Oh, it does.
Is that people buy their way into stuff like that.
So one of the best ways that I feel that, just personal opinion that I can tell, is if the entire army looks airbrushed, detail airbrush, because to do micro sprays for the dials on a back of a gun has been airbrushed. That's not, you don't learn that overnight. I have an airbrush, I think it's like a Pash Gold Claw or something like that, and that thing, I spray that thing like a fire hose. It just, I have a whole back wall of concrete in my my workshop downstairs that is blood red right now from red ink, because I was like, I'm gonna be an airbrush star, and I was like, it was just a bad time. It's just a red corner. We don't talk about it. We just look at it. So I just more power to you. If you want to go buy a professional painted army, you focus on playing more. But honestly, I like looking at models where someone has taken a Walmart dry brush and spent an enormous amount of their lifespan putting something pretty that they actually put thought into on the field.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's wrapping up our time for today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for talking in chat. And if you liked our content, feel free to spread some words. Follow us. If you're watching this later on YouTube, feel free to hit the subscribe button. We'd love to get more of our content out there to you guys. Something that we're doing today, we're actually going to go raid our friend's channel. Shop's closed. So we'll send some people over their way if they're streaming, which they should be. So
Otherwise, this gets real awkward.
yeah, if they're not streaming, then this will get real awkward, and they're not. So I guess we're gonna just kind of wrap things up today, and thank you guys for coming out. Well,
Absolutely.
stay safe, everybody.
Wait, coming out or staying in? Okay, bye-bye.